How do you keep your dream and vision alive when all odds are stacked against you? Well, we'll be talking about that topic and more today on Extraordinary Women TV. Hello, I'm your host, Shannon Skinner, and thanks for dropping by. My guest is Rose Barroso, founder of Barroso Homes. Now, it was more than a decade ago when Rose built her dream house after being unsatisfied with designs she was being presented with. Well, this mom took matter into her own hands, built her house, and today she's helping others build their dream homes. Rose Barroso, welcome to the show. It's nice having you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's really great. Now, what's really interesting about you is today you build these beautiful homes.
Thank you.
But you haven't always been a builder.
No.
In fact, your education is certainly not in engineering or architecture. Your career began as a flight attendant.
Correct, a flight attendant.
Right.
And I do have a double major in English and French and a minor in Portuguese. So nothing to do with building homes.
So, how did you get into, how did you get your start building homes?
At a certain point in our lives, my husband and I decided that we wanted to start a family. So at that point, I needed a home that could house a child. We spoke, and I decided, let's build our own home. And by that, I didn't mean let me build our own home. I just wanted somebody to build a home for us. I found the perfect lot, and at that point, I started interviewing builders and contractors. And what I wanted them to do was build what I wanted, not what they wanted or what they had in mind I wanted. And I found it so difficult to have these gentlemen listen to me, because after all, they're used to dealing with men. So I got extremely frustrated. And one evening I sat down with my husband and I said, listen, I'm not going to do this. I don't feel that they're going to build a home I truly want. How about I do it? And he said, absolutely, and I'll hold your hand through it. That's how it started.
And you jumped in.
I jumped in, head first.
But what's interesting is, you don't have a background you're not a trained architect or engineer, and you just decided, I'm going to do it. I'm going to build my own home.
Yes. Well, it took a few years. My husband is in the industry. He doesn't work for me or with me. He's got his own company. And a lot of the evenings, if I wanted to spend time with him, because he was always so busy, I'd sit down with a coffee, glass of wine. I'd sit down with him and I'd watch him mark plans so he could give out to his pieceworks. And it's always been my trade. I ask a lot of questions. So that's how I started learning a few things. And when I said, I want to do this, he said, I'll hold your hand, because he knew I still needed his backing. And he did. But a lot of the times you would really just take off the leash and say, do what you really want to do.
Now, what was it about the designs of the homes that you were looking at that time? You couldn't find anything that was satisfactory for you, so why was that?
Because I think there's something lacking when men are designing or building a home, and I don't mean that as an offense, okay? For me, is when it's a woman building, you take a lot more into consideration. You take your children, you take your husband-wife relationship. So when you get home, you don't want your children going into the living room. You want to see your children. You don't want your husband to go sit somewhere and read his newspaper. You want him to be there with you. Have a glass of wine. You're cooking, he's there, your children are there, they're chatting, they got a question, you're next to them. So for me, it's got to be family friendly. And the other aspect of building a home is you have children. And at that point, I thought, I'm going to have babies. So how quick can I listen to or if I listen, or when I listen to these children crying, whether it's a nightmare, teeth aches, whatever the case may be, is it easy for me to hear? How does sound travel, and how quickly can I get to them? Or vice versa, if they get up in the middle of the night, how quickly can they get to mom and dad's room? without having to do a whole bunch of zigzags. So all of that was very important to me. And everybody just kept saying it's not going to fly. And I made it.
Now, I've seen some photos of your home, and they're lovely. And it's a very open concept, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Very contemporary, very open.
Yes, and as I continued to build, I also started thinking there's the entertaining part of a family. If you start dividing the home into cubes, how are you going to host a party and actually see people mingle and be able to interact with everybody? So that's why I started building a lot more and more open concept homes. Whether you're throwing a party for 10 or 30 or 50, you're able to look at your guests. Are they lacking something, missing something? How do I get to them quickly? How do I say, oh, hey, hello, from across the room without having to go searching for them? So that was the idea. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous when you walk into a home and you see that much light coming in, those many windows, that much open space. It does not feel cluttered. It doesn't feel busy at all. It just feels like a very comfortable home. That's what it is.
Do we have too many walls in our homes, do you think?
I do
you think we just
so.
section off rooms too much, maybe?
I do think so.
Yeah.
And in turn, I do feel you're separating your family. Also, you know, with technology and children going to school and high school, they're always on their computers. For me, I'm very much afraid of what children can access on the net. So I have no problem having computers around. What I build now are smart homes. So you literally have iPads throughout the homes with full access to the internet. So if everything's very open, okay, you're not separating your family, your children from even if you have 2, 3 children, you're not saying this one's going to sit over there and that one's going to sit over there. Yes, they have their areas, but it's more it's a communal. You're there, and everybody can see and speak to each other.
So tell us about some of your projects that you've done to give us a sense of your homes.
I build very modern, contemporary homes. I also name all my homes.
Art House 7?
Yes, that is one of my favorites so far.
Right.
And I'm also now getting into cottages, building ultra-modern cottages. I'm working on a design right now that I'm so extremely proud of. And for me, when I look at that design, I already know the materials that I want. I bring a lot of materials from Europe, and I think that's what makes me stand out even more. Whether it's cement boards or wood cladding that's maintenance-free for the next 30 years. So I always want to be different, stand out, and also thinking about the purchaser. If I can buy something and apply something to this home that's maintenance-free, if you do cedar, you're going to have to treat that cedar every 2, 3, 4 years, depending on color. But if I can give them that peace of mind, why not? So that's, I think that makes me stand out even further.
So what kind of client comes to you to build their homes? Are you finding it's mostly women, moms wanting homes?
No, they're couples. I've had a single lady, not even a mom, but they're couples. They're business people, doctors, and they like that it's different, that it's open concept, that it's modern, and that there isn't so much to choose from. Because if you're looking for a home, you go through your MLS and you have 20 or 30 to pick from on the area that you're searching, and then you're looking for contemporary, and perhaps you have 2 or 3. So a lot of young couples, and by young I mean from 40 to 55, these are the couples that are buying my homes.
What's the process you go through in terms of designing and building a home?
Designing and building, it's a huge, lengthy process. But the first key ingredient is getting that lot. Because the minute I drive around trying to find lots, I don't depend on anyone. And every time I see a lot for sale, I sit in front of that lot in my car and what is the view? Is there a ravine to it? Is there a golf course nearby? So there's got to be something that's appealing. And then next is, does the neighborhood, will it welcome a modern home? So after that, you have your meetings with your architect, okay? Once the architect comes up with a concept, okay? And then it has to fall into all of the city's bylaws, your setbacks, your height, and et cetera, your GFAs. Once you have all of that, but there's so many other little processes in between, like getting your arborist report, getting your topo survey done. So everybody is linked to everyone else. It can't proceed until you get these other little things done. And then it's basically getting your architectural plans, structural, your HVAC, all of these plans together, going to the city to apply for permits. And then basically you're at the mercy of the city. It can take 6 months, it can take 2 years, depending on the lot that you have chosen to build on. If it's a ravine or governed by the city, basically they take a lot more care of their trees and the ground that's surrounding that property. So it could take you longer. But and after that, it's just a building process. After that, it's the fun part.
Rose, it's my good to know minute, and I know you've got a great success tip.
I do, absolutely. And I think everybody that's in business needs to be very dedicated, very passionate. You need to be able to get up in the morning and want to do it all over again. It's all about passion and dedication. If you're going to do something without passion, it's going to be done halfway.
And that's good to know.
Thank
And
you.
Thanks for that. To find out more about Extraordinary Women TV, my guests, and to view past episodes, visit the website at extraordinarywomentv.com. And to keep the conversation going, join me on Twitter at Shannon_Skinner for an empowering stream of Extraordinary Women TV updates. On Facebook, connect with us at Extraordinary Women TV. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm Shannon Skinner. See you next time.